Hey, it's Jeremy from OpticHouse.com. So, I frequently stand by the fact that the thumbnailing process is probably the most important process in any kind of visual art making. It's where you lay out your thoughts and your composition, and it's giving your ideas shape and form before you begin to execute them. So, I received a commission to do a piece at Amazing Las Vegas Comic Con. Somebody commissioned me for three pieces. And what he was asking for was basically three mutilated Hello Kitty characters. He's a big fan of the sculptor Marina Rubinky, and she does these really beautiful porcelain dolls that all have some sort of wounds or deformities, or they're scarring or cutting themselves. And then their porcelain like white, but then they have some red patina added to them wherever the wounds are, so it's like really striking against them. And the first challenge there in doing something like that is, how do I take the work of another artist and not copy them, but the guy who was commissioning the piece for me specifically asked for using her work as a touchstone. And also, whenever possible, I like to take an idea the commissioner then someone gives me and see if I can add a little extra layer of depth to it. And since he was doing three pieces and they were going to be Hello Kitty mutilated, I decided to try and do see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. So one was going to be tearing out their eyes, the other kitty tearing off its ears, last kitty tearing off its lower jaw or part of its mouth. Originally, I started with just pulling its teeth out. That's even more challenging because one of the sculptor's pieces that he liked, one of her most popular pieces, is one of a child taking its eyes out and then staring back at it. So, like, how do I execute something that's in the same vein without copying them? Now, I started with changing the eye proportions since he wanted these mutilated Hello Kitties, and gave it wider, larger eyes, much more open. And in the process of doing that, I think this felt different enough from Rubinky's work that it started to feel my own. But as you can see, this last sketch I'm doing here at the bottom, I looked at it and I decided to try doing it, paws over its eyes instead of holding the eyeballs out. Doing the paws over the eyes as opposed to holding the eyeballs out made it feel less like Rubinky's work. But then I remembered that there's another artist whose work I like. His name is Luke Chu. He has this bear character, and I think the character's name is Southpaw. But the bear is done in kind of a cute graphic style, but usually mutilated, bleeding, wounded in some way or another. He has kind of a sad, like just more of a gory Eeyore type thing going on. Really, really cool work. But now I'm like, all right, if the piece I did with the wider eyes looks more like his work, now I have to worry about trying to not copy another artist. And this is something you can never really get away from in art, at least at this modern era we're at. Anything you do, if you try to push it away from one artist's style because you don't want to feel like you're copying them, invariably it will start looking like another artist's style. It's good to be familiar with what a lot of other artists are doing so that you can incorporate that, and not incorporate, but be aware of it and make conscious decisions about what to steer away from and what to steer towards. But you cannot ever get away from the fact that your art can always be compared to someone else's. So that's when I decided I would go back to the smaller Hello Kitty eyes as opposed to the wider eyes that I had drawn in, because Hello Kitty is something that is frequently parodied and it's a cultural icon. And I'm sure there are many artists for years who have worked for Sanrio, and I'm actually not familiar with the history enough to know who initially developed Hello Kitty and how the original character look came out. So I don't mean any disrespect to the people who have created the visual imagery and the icons that form Hello Kitty, but Hello Kitty has been parodied enough that I would feel a lot more comfortable specifically parodying something that looks like Hello Kitty than I would some other artist's work. So I ended up trying to do a bunch of sketches now to compare both the wide-eyed version versus the smaller-eyed version, to see which one I liked the best. And normally I wouldn't necessarily do as many sketches for a commission as I'm doing here, but I'm doing 3 pieces for a person, and these pieces are interlocked, which means I'm doing 3 times as many sketches as I normally would do. But still, in general, for most pieces, I'll do like 3 or 4 sketches just to figure out exactly what I want before I start going into the final piece. This one being more involved, I put a little bit more time into it. So that's, an interesting challenge that, creative people have. And also, I was trying to figure out, I drew these little symbols here because I didn't want to just copy Hello Kitty's ribbon. So I had to decide what I was going to put on the kitty creature here. And I ended up doing like a heart on one, a star on another, and a rainbow on the last one. And I do think the one with the wide eyes is cute, and it has a good look to it. So, but I'm a little bit torn in the sense that it is a cute character that feels like it's its own thing, but it's only its own thing in the sense that it doesn't look exactly like Hello Kitty and looks a little bit like something else that I'm also familiar with and I've seen from another artist. So for now, I'm sticking with the specific Hello Kitty look, and I'm going to move forward into the final illustration with the small eyes. That's it for now. Check out my website, optichouse.com. Sign up for my weekly newsletter to get a free digital download and see what else I'm working on. And go be creative.